let's chat about the trio.
Let's do it. Who should we start with? Because I have a lot on all of them. They own the laundromat that's above the casino.
Which is a great way to launder money.
It says, we launder on the top. I kind of have some theories.
All I have are like some connected dots.
All right, take me on your dots, and I'll take you on my dots.
Birds. Hello and welcome to Road Goes Ever On and On. Today, Mark and I are talking about the hit Hulu TV series, Only Murders in the Building, Season 5, Episodes 1 through 3, so spoilers are ahead. And if you're enjoying our content, then a like would be appreciated. If you don't want to miss a single one of our breakdowns, especially since the Foundation finale is up next, and then we will continue covering Only Murders in the Building, then just be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon for notifications. And with that, it's always good to be back in Only Murders in the Building. What are your overall thoughts?
You know, I'm really excited about this season already because, we had these themes. So we had like the Broadway one, then we had the movie one, and now we're leaning into a mob one, which is pretty cool. And I think one thing Only Murders in the Building does is, it does pay homage to film. They've always done that, or I guess theater production, all of the above. And I could see that this focusing on the mob, I think we're going to see a lot of Mafia movie stereotypes in this. And I mean, we kind of already did.
We've got to see some Scorsese, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
We already saw a little of The Godfather. I'm sure we're going to see some other mob movie. But also, I think it's not just, they already kind of pointed out the fact that the mob maybe isn't relevant. It seems like CEOs might be the new power in New York and other places, because I think that anytime that there is a vacuum, something rushes in. So maybe a bunch of the mob was taken down and something is going to fill that void.
Yeah, and I think it's also like part of the meta commentary that the show is trying to say about like billionaires running everything and
right.
we don't have mafias anymore like we used to. We just have billionaires that do what mafias do and get away with it because they have billions of dollars and they can just pay their way out of anything.
And I'm interested in seeing how they are able to do something really fun with that, because I do feel like previous seasons are able to take part of the theme and really do something cool with it. When they had the musical theme, they did a musical. When they were doing kind of a love letter to film, they had that episode that was kind of like avant-garde style filmmaking. And I know that this show likes to kind of mix genres and take risks like that. And I'm looking forward. I can't imagine what they'll do this season, but I'm looking forward to seeing what that'll be.
I totally agree. I also am loving that, one thing I think Only Murders does great is they bring back things. And we saw a couple characters that we saw die in previous seasons. Like we got Saz. We got a little bit of Saz. I was thinking we're going to get no Saz. We got her.
Yeah. Yeah, because in flashbacks, we got Bunny.
We got Bunny. We got Tim. So it's I think that, with the backdrop of the Arconia, there's so much history in it. And I think that they really emphasize this history. And so even not this mob episode, but I think you can always go flashback and see characters again. We could see Lester again. We'll see Bunny again. We'll see. And that's cool to oh man, we lost these characters, but at least we get these little glimpses of lives they lived, which I love in Only Murders.
Absolutely. I do think that this season is going to be a different experience for me. So the first 3 seasons, watch that just for fun. Dawn and I, we weren't doing this as one of the shows that we cover. When we covered it, I think we looked at it, very, very kind of critically, and we could really figure out what the mystery was. And I think that doing that kind of made, I assume both of us, kind of realize that they focus more on the red herrings than the actual clues. And this isn't at all a dig. The show is first and foremost fun.
Oh, it's so fun.
Above everything else. It's it's meant for fun more than it is like a real mystery. And so I'm perfectly fine with that. But having gone through that once of like thinking maybe we can solve it and then realizing that they don't really do that good a job. They're not trying to lay out the clues. They are actively trying to throw you off the scent.
Yes.
So that's kind of where I'm going into this with, is like just about everything is a red herring. And we'll make some wild guesses based off the red herrings that they throw out. We'll see if anything is right.
I mean, I feel like you guessed Marshall last season pretty early on before most people did, when I was convinced that, they weren't there. And this season, I know we're going to go through that too, where we're going to have so many suspects that we're like, oh, that guy's the killer. And then, just kidding. Here's an explanation. Here's their alibi. This is how they get out of it. So, but either way, also excited about the cast. Like, we have a great, like, early on couple, celebrities that came in and guest starred. And now it feels like everybody wants to be in this. We got Téa Leoni, we got Christoph Waltz, we got Renee Zellweger, we got the guy that is Cacciolione. He's not like a huge actor, but he's been in a lot of things. And it's honestly, it's so fun. And it's so fun that a lot of these big name celebrities want to come and do this. Like Ron Howard last season, we get all these really cool celebrities. I'm excited to see what other celebrities we get. I'm curious to see if we see any of the West Tower.
And it seems like they create it's such a good environment that people want to be on it. That I think it's easy for them to bring people in, because it's not, like you mentioned Ron Howard, like with Ron Howard, he had a very tight schedule. They wanted more time than he had available, but they were respectful. They were going to go with like the smaller amount of time. And I think when he kind of got into it, he's like, he gave them more time because like he loved what they were doing. So I think people genuinely enjoy being on that show. I think it's well run, well written. It's a fun group, man. And I would love to do any part of that. Like I'd be happy to be like catering and like clean up messes.
Yeah, I'll just be here. You need a gaffer? I'll be the gaffer.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to with this season. Like another one of the things that I think they do is like, some of the cameos that they have, like they really, exactly like Ron Howard, don't have necessarily a lot of time. And so like sometimes you'll have like different locations. I think of like the stunt bar last season.
Mm-hmm.
That was in like 2-ish episodes and like a fun group that was there. I think that we're potentially going to see a fun group around like the Audubon Society, or maybe like the improv group that Lester was a part of, because as they're, well, I don't know if he was part of, didn't it say that like they could send donations to like the Audubon Society because that was one of his favorites? Yes. Or like
because he's avid
bird person. Yeah.
He was an avid bird watcher. I don't know if I know about I might have missed the improv like one.
2 things that they could send money to. And so that's just like a dot that I think they may want to go and like investigate, which will probably be a red herring.
Well, I mean, I definitely think we're going to get some birds, because it seems like we have birds that are lined up with people and who's who and who's what. So I definitely think that they could go to the Audubon Society to be like, tell us about these birds so that we can pair them up with who these people are. So definitely could see that. I also feel like we're going to see stuff more about like the doorman, kind of like we saw with the stunt crew, where we talked about the union of doormen. We had like a almost documentary style questionnaire of doormen.
Right.
And put a pin in that. We'll come back to that.
Yes.
And then Mayor Tillman is campaigning, and he's only here because he's strong union with the doormen. So like there might be this whole elite doorman organization that's like the real CD, like they're the mob, is the doormen, like running everything and moving things around. And I'm excited to see where we go with that.
Yeah. It's always fun, like these little pockets of people. Like, who knows whether or not we end up seeing the Cachamilio boys again? Like that.
We're seeing the Cachamilio boys again.
I think we will, but you never know. Like sometimes these things are like little one-off pockets that are just fun.
I also really love how the Arconia can expand. Like in every season, it feels like we get a little bit more. Yeah, maybe in the Broadway season and the movie season, we were kind of mostly focused on sets or the stage. But like we've had the hallways in the Arconia that have grown. We got the West Tower, and now we get this whole casino underneath the Arconia that's just part of the Arconia. And it makes the Arconia feel like a character in itself, that it has all of these different little secrets to it. And like we flesh it out more every season, and it's awesome.
And really smart what they did there. Like it's cool that they used a real piece of history to be able to do this, that, a lot of these buildings did have stables underneath of them. And then with the advent of the car, they didn't need the stables anymore. And so, it's like, what are you going to do with that space? Because then it doesn't feel like you're just like making up plot points. Like they're taking in kind of real history and mixing that in there to make something that feels realistic.
Parking garage. That's what you do with stables. Underground stables, underground parking garage, which is probably what most of them actually turned into.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure. Let's chat about the trio.
Let's do it. Who should we start with? Because I have a lot on all of them.
Charles.
That's who I wanted to start with. This is how I want to have the most on.
Do you know that he actually was a magician way back when?
Yeah, he got his start in Disneyland at the magic shop. Isn't that crazy?
It's wild. I saw that card work.
Mm-hmm. That's him.
I thought it was I knew that he had like magic background. I've seen it, but that was like a long time ago, and so I thought it was going to be a hand double. It was like super close in on it, but the hands were kind of like old and veiny, and I was like, oh, that's a really good hand double. And then the shot moved, and you see it's him, and whoa, that was really good.
Steve Martin has a lot of talent. Like accordion, he can play, he's talented actor, comedian,
banjo,
magic, and he's still good at it. And I love that we got a couple magic tricks. So not just the card work that he did, but like also revealing his pin was super cool.
Absolutely. And that like really fits in with the whole, like he had that poker group, right? So it actually works with his character that he might have gotten into cards with like the poker group, and it works with like the actor. So like I love how that's like the perfect mix that they brought in. And it's like great with like the storyline of, exactly what they're dealing with now. Like obviously the casinos were huge with the mob and the mafia.
And because of his knowledge of the cards and like the felt, he can tie his way back and being useful in this casino-like background. Okay, I need to ask you this about Charles Hayden Savage, though.
Yes.
My question for you. Why is he seeing all these dead people talk?
I wonder if it's related to his drugs.
Ooh. Well, so, I mean, I was thinking potentially the drugs or like...
And or what the drug is treating.
Right. So like, what if like he has like dementia and we just like don't know that about him? And like, it has never been said, or like, this could be an interesting way for them to kind of develop a character that might start having early onset dementia. Like he didn't have it in the first couple seasons, but we saw it last season and we just thought the guilt of Saz was calling to him. But now we're seeing it with some untied person that has no connections with him.
Yeah, I do think that this is something that is going to be addressed. probably this season, maybe next season, because it does seem like a continuing plot point that seems to be building.
But then I also wonder if it's supposed to be like a tongue-in-cheek gag of like Ghost Whisperer that was like that primetime show on like CBS or something. I think Jennifer Love Hewitt was in it, where she could like talk to the dead and then kind of learn how they died or what happened to them. And I'm wondering if potentially they're like being tongue-in-cheek about it, but I could see them kind of going a serious route with it.
It is possible. However, I do feel like they made it clear that this is happening in his head.
Yes.
Like it definitely didn't seem like it was an apparition. Like I think it said something about like...
Right. I didn't think it was a ghost talking to him. I didn't think he could talk to the dead. I just thought because of like Ghost Whisperer was like solving a murder thing, they are solving murders. Right. I thought it might have been just like a nod to that. I didn't think he's actually... ghosts are coming up, because this show is grounded in reality mostly. Yes.
Yeah, it's a little over the top. It's like it's grounded while still being over the top. But yes. Yeah, I think it's related to some kind of condition he has. So whether it's like the condition is causing it and he has the meds treating that, or if it's like the meds that he's using for his condition, have that as a potential like side effect.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. So it seems Mabel is on the up and up. She's got her own apartment. I love the look of her apartment. I love the little touches of drawings that she does. And we saw Hammy
Faye Baker.
Hammy Faye Baker. That's what I knew you would remember it. I couldn't remember her name. We see Hammy Faye Baker. We see the cat and the dog. It's great.
Yes. I love the look of her place. I think it's... Are hideaway beds still a thing?
Like a Murphy bed?
It is, yes, yeah.
I don't think so. And it does look like her bed has a headboard and it's in a cutout where a Murphy bed was. I do think that there are two rooms in her apartment. There's like the living room that we met where, what's his name? Marshall. When they fought Marshall, they were in kind of that living room area. And I don't think that bed is in the living room. I think there's an adjacent room where her bed is. And I don't think it floats up and down. That's my thought on that.
It looked like she was putting it up or something like that. Or it looked like maybe that was a spot for a hideaway bed. I don't know.
It definitely looked like it.
It definitely looked like it. And that, I mean, as expensive as rent is in New York, like there are plenty of studio apartments. And so I'm sure that people have to make creative choices at some point.
Right. And we did see in the West Tower, there are different families living there, like the sauce people. There's like 3 people living there. So I'm sure they're all not living in one room. And I think that most of those units might be the same potentially. But we'll see. And will we see any of those people? I hope we see some of the Westies.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that they can like keep bringing in all of these people. So it'd be great if we can see them, even if it's just for like one episode or see one of them. But I'm not holding my breath because like the Demuses were great, right?
Yeah.
And we see them rarely. Like,
true.
I think there might have been last season, there was like, I think an interaction in like the elevator.
Yep.
And that was about it, Well, so it's like we get.
Was it? No, it wasn't last season. I'm trying to remember the season when it was the 3rd season when Oliver was trying to figure out if his son was his son. And it was Demus's son. And I think that's 3rd season.
I think that might have been the 2nd season. But anyway, but like.
You might have been right.
But like they haven't been, like
as prevalent.
Yeah. I think there might have even been like a whole season without them, or at least like a season where we just got like a
tease.
Little smidge. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could see not seeing the Westies, but it does feel weird having Mabel live in the West Tower next to these people without seeing the Westies.
Right. Yeah. I totally get that. I do love that, like, these characters do, do have growth, but they do still remain human, and like regardless of how long you grow in your life, you still generally end up having things that are like imperfect about you. And I feel like this show does a good job of that, where it's like, Charles is dealing with whatever he's dealing with. I think, you mentioned possibly like drugs, whatever. Mabel, like she didn't know what she was doing with her life, and she's finally feels like she has a direction. And then that gets undercut with like childhood friend who's doing so much better than her, that I think is making her feel bad about what little she's accomplished, which I think she's accomplished a fine amount.
Yeah, she's got a number 17 podcast. I would love to be number 17 podcast.
Right.
We're stuck in
I'd be happy to be in the top 100s. Like,
yeah. She has a movie with Ava Longoria playing her. That's huge.
Yeah.
And it is cool to see the growth of Mabel. Like, Mabel was very like unsure of herself in the first several seasons. She's really come into her own. And like the beginning of this, she's felt the most confident, which is great. And yet they can still find that way to like undercut her. Like, oh, here's your friend who's actually even better than you in the penthouse, which we all know the penthouse, that infamous suite.
Right. Yeah. Which means that I think it's pretty much guaranteed that Thea's gone at the end of the season, because like whoever's in the penthouse is there for one season.
One season, and then they're out of there.
And then they're out. And, and then we have Oliver, and like his narcissism and the fact like he could go this long in his life and not even be aware of it. Not even be aware of it, but like honestly believe that he's like Lester's favorite.
And he didn't even send a picture. He didn't even take a picture with
right.
him. And we see in the flashback that like Lester was so kind to Oliver, like in his like lowest moments. And yet Oliver is kind of shitty. And he's a narcissist. And I feel like the gang tells him every time, like, you are not a good friend. And he's just like, no, I'm fine. Here, take my dead body I brought you. Go deal with that.
I know. That was such a good show of his narcissism.
He's like, oh, I'll go get the ledger. To his credit, he did get the ledger. But
he did?
He was so good at pawning off the dead body he brought to Charles's house. Also, not going to bring it to his house. He didn't want a dead body in his house. Charles could take it. Oh, and just his wastefulness. He's eating those shrimp and he's sucking off the sauce and disgustingly. And he says, I don't want to waste things. And yet he's wasting the shrimp.
Also, I love the reference to gut milk. They need to bring gut milk back.
Bring gut milk back. It's coming back. It's coming back. You know who I'm wondering if we're going to see?
Who?
The detective that we always see.
We have to.
I hope so.
She's been in every
season.
And she's going to have to be really careful, because if the cops are in on it and they're like hiding, then obviously she doesn't want to. You have to be careful about outing dirty cops.
Yeah. I think could be a very cool thread they go down, which is going to be exciting.
And that's like, I think that's like another thing kind of related to, the power, whether it's the mafia or whatever. Is like, buying out. These people can oftentimes buy out certain things in order to be able to go around the law. Like I think of CEOs and like corporations. I feel like they'll oftentimes do things or corporations more than CEOs will like do things that they know are illegal, because even if the government comes after them, the fines generally are like a slap on the wrist compared to the amount of money that they make from making that infraction. So it's like, why care? Between that and like lobbyists and maybe paying off government officials, like the elite can sometimes get away with what they want and can pull the strings and control things.
Sometimes release the files. Yeah. So speaking of, let's talk about that flashback episode.
Yes.
I specifically want to say one thing I didn't like
Okay.
about it. Because overall, I think it was a cool episode. I liked what they did with it. But there's one thing that just pulled me out of it so much. And I think it's casting that young Lester.
Okay.
Only because it was like 25 years. Because, you know, they talk about Y2K is coming up at Christmas.
Right.
25 years for him to go from like a 30-year-old dude to like a 70-year-old dude. And when you have everybody else reprising their roles 25 years later, and they all look the same 25 years later, it's really hard for me to look at that guy as Lester. Like, that was like my biggest disconnect. Like, I love the acting by that guy. You know, I feel like he could have been Lester, maybe. I liked the story it was telling. I liked seeing the different pieces of the Arconia. I loved seeing the flashbacks of people, like baby Mabel, young Mabel.
Yeah.
But like, when you see Howard at 25 years ago, who is Howard, and then he's Howard now, it's so hard for me to be like, that guy turns into Lester. That was my one qualm.
I kind of felt the opposite, because they've done some flashbacks, and they don't like go out for like the CGI to like completely digitally de-age. It's some pretty basic prosthetics, makeup. Not even, I don't feel like they're even necessarily the world's best wigs that they put on some of them.
Yeah.
I think that it's the comedy and the story that they're telling are the important things. Like, it's never been a huge budget show, and I feel like when they do the flashbacks, it can sometimes show a little bit the kind of the budget. So I've been okay with them doing it, you know, these flashbacks where it's like Charles does not look young. Which,
that's fine. I'm fine with those.
So I just kind of like accept it, of like, look, you've got a good actor to play it. I'm okay. I'm going along with it. But I can totally understand how that can like take you out.
It's just the way they like treated Lester's character. Like, when he first starts, he's like this new doorman. It's like he's first getting his time to work. Like, he still has a dream that he really wants to do, but like, this is his first job. And then like at his first job, we see like Bunny and the other lady's name that I always forget her name. Uma. We see Oliver. We see baby Mabel. And like, so it's like Lester is starting his first job, and then there's baby Mabel. So you're like, okay, so 30 years passed. So like, this guy wasn't doing, like, he wasn't trying to chase his dreams until he was 30. Like, like, I almost wish they would try to have just taken Lester and like gave him a crappy wig, put some makeup on, like he's starting. And I think that would have sold it a little bit more for me. But that was the only thing that just like kept taking me out. Like, even when he's meeting the mob boss hasn't aged a day. Camacho? Cachemilio. Why are they making these names so hard? So that was my one hang up, but overall loved the episode. I thought the flashback was phenomenally done. I loved seeing the different parts of the Arconia, seeing things that Charles Hayden Savage went through, Oliver went through, young Mabel. It was all great.
I feel like with Saz, I feel like maybe they like spread out the flashbacks a little bit over more episodes. And in this case, I think like Saz was loved. And not that Lester wasn't loved, because he definitely, like, he was part of the building itself, you know, even could be like part of its heart, but also part that could be overlooked, you know, both by the people inside of it. Like, you saw that at the end of last season when he's trying to say about like his marriage, you know, and he gets kind of like brushed aside, and also kind of by the audience, since he isn't like a major character. And I don't feel like he's got, you know, like the great one-liners of a lot of the other characters. And so I did think it was a good choice to really ground this one as having it be, you know, almost like an entire flashback about the one character, to have it be somebody that blends into the background but matters, you know, and has this like great story that deserves to be told. And so I did think that was Like I do think that did mean that I don't feel like this was quite out of the gate as comedic a start as some of the other seasons have been. I feel like some of the other ones have had, like bigger laughs for like episode 2, but I feel like this is building heart and like setting up ground for things that we'll see in like the future episodes. And I still thought it was a good episode, even if it, wasn't completely filled with laughs the whole time.
I thought it was a great episode. I know I had my complaint about the actor, but I thought overall the episode was great. The one thing I really truly love about Only Murders in the Building, which is an interesting thing, they take these side characters that have bit parts, maybe comedic relief, very in the background, they're just part of the Arconia. Then they kill them, but then after they kill them, you get to flesh them out and you get to see who this character was. And I love that we're like getting to see Lester and his hopes and dreams of how he wanted to be a movie star, so I don't know if you knew this. I read an article that talked about Lester's actor when he found out that he was dying. He like cried because he was so sad that he would be basically leaving the show. And like he loved like being Lester in Only Murders in the Building. And
yeah.
I thought it was so cool that like part of Lester's like history was like wanting to be this actor. So it's like there is this part where the actor that plays Lester and Lester have this mutual, like they're almost one and the same. And it like after reading that article and seeing this, it made me feel like very happy that they included that he was wanting to be an actor.
Yeah. I didn't see that. I did see that he didn't get told that he was getting killed off. He learned by reading it in the script. And also the others don't get told a lot of the details of like who done it, because every season Howard tries to figure out who, like Howard's actor tries to figure out
who done it.
Yeah. And he said he's like wrong every time, but I think his new trick he's trying to do for this season is like seeing who goes to the director to ask for notes, because like that person probably is like trying to get their motivation right, because like they know that they're the person. But it's interesting, the way that they plan ahead, but then 2, the way that they like still keep these kind of secrets, even within the cast, to like have there be genuine surprises.
Love it. Okay, then let's maybe jump into theories. Where are you at on this? Like, we've seen 3 episodes. Do we feel like that we know, or I mean, do you think the killer has been introduced?
I do think that the killer has been introduced, just because people love theorizing about it. And so that feels kind of like cruel to not have introduced the character yet. That being said, I did feel like it was a little bit slow about introducing important characters. I feel like we've seen like most everybody that was important last season got introduced at like the big party for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the meeting leading up to that,
like the table.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. So I feel like they got in early versus like the 3 CEOs. Like one of them could be it. Like we didn't really get them until this episode, and they do. It feels like they're important and not just bit parts, especially since we barely saw them.
To me, those CEOs feel like the actors portraying the characters last season, right? We have 3 big names coming in. I don't quite know the guy missing the finger, but I recognize him. I've seen him in something. I can't tell who he is, but we have Renee Zellweger and Christoph Waltz. And so, like, to me, those feel like red herrings that, these corrupt billionaires that are dealing with this gambling thing. I don't think it's them. I think those are red herrings. I kind of have some theories.
Oof. Okay. I all I have are like some connected dots. That's like, I don't have anything fleshed out enough that I can call it a theory.
All right, take me on your dots, and I'll take you on my dots.
Birds. So there are four birds written down, and Lester likes to, connect birds with people, I think based off their characteristics. And so there's the four birds that are written down, and I think those are representative of people. One is the brown-headed cowbird, which is a bird that lays its eggs in other birds' nests. So
Okay.
I think there might be a person that is like a bastard or something like that, or pretending to be somebody that they aren't. The only person that like jumps to mind is like Braden doesn't fit in with the like Gotchamelias.
Okay, so he's one of the birds.
But that also seems like that's possibly like too obvious. So maybe not. I think that like we'll learn more about people. The kakapo is a large nocturnal flightless parrot. I don't know how that. Maybe there's a nocturnal person. Otherwise, like I don't know how to like. Maybe there's a large person. I don't know how to like connect that to a person. Eurasian jay is one of the like corvids, which are like the really smart birds. So I think that's going to be somebody intelligent. I don't know who that is. Like we haven't really had a chance to see how intelligent or not people are yet. And then last but not least was the bowerbird. And the bowerbird has these like extraordinary courtship behaviors. Like the exaggerated nests that it builds are in order to like elaborate nests are in order to like woo, a female bird versus like really being about the bebes. So, I don't know who that would be, but like somebody who is like flashy, possibly for like attracting the other side. We'll see. But that's just like little things I'm like simmering on.
I love it, and I wanted to build on it.
Okay.
I didn't look into the birds. I know some of them. I think the four birds, like you, are his children. But there's 5 children.
Okay.
Braden, so he gave his first 4 children, it seems, really cool Mafia names. It seems like they really are into mobster stuff, buying the house. He gave them cool Mafia names and then named Braden. So what if one of them came from a previous marriage? That's the cowhead. The cockapoo, one of them's a night owl and whatever. One of them is like more intelligent. That's the corvid. And then finally, one is a ladies' man. That's the other one. And the dad takes his 4 sons, to this thing, but has left Braden out. And Braden is a mama's boy. And we know that the dad cheats on his mom, and basically their marriage is pretty much over. He doesn't want to be there. And so Braden, I do think, has motivation to kill him. But also I feel like it might be a little too obvious.
Okay. And then Lester is just like caught in the crosshairs in this case.
So Lester potentially... So yeah, maybe because Lester, who has... So yeah, Braden kills... I believe that... What's his name? It's so hard, the last name. I'm not Italian.
Cacciamelio.
Cacciamelio. By the next episode, I'll have it memorized, I promise, folks. Okay, Cacciamelio. So Cacciamelio, we kind of theorize he's probably been dead for longer than Lester, possibly frozen. And I believe that Braden kills Cacciamelio. Lester sees it. He chases him into the courtyard where he falls into the fountain and dies. And he just leaves him there because he didn't actually kill Lester. Lester may have tripped, hit his head, but he takes the crank to hide up his crimes. So that's one potential, but I feel like that might be too obvious.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a wild one that I think there is like a 99% chance that I am wrong on this. Probably like 99.99% chance that I am wrong on this. But I was thinking about the brown-headed cowbird and, laying your eggs in another bird's nest in order to pretend to be that, so that bird can grow up pretending to be whatever bird it's not. And it did make me wonder whether or not Cacciamilios could be fake Italians or like fake mobsters. I don't know why I couldn't capture the audio. Like I cranked up my my TV and tried to use like Google Translate to translate the like what the Nona said to see if it potentially was, not really Italian. Because there was like Italian normally like rolls off the tongue, and hers sounded kind of like,
she didn't sound like a true Italian no.
She didn't.
And I feel like if you were going to create somebody that was very Italian, she would be an Italian woman.
To me, it sounded very like
Yeah.
And Italian is a very flowing language where one word flows directly into the next word. So anyways, but I couldn't actually get Google Translate to like pick up any words, even if it was like picking them up wrong. And like I said, I like cranked up the volume. Anyway, so it's just like wild theory. Yeah, probably wrong.
So I am kind of going back and forth with, I know like Téa Leoni's character says they're not really mobsters, they're kind of faking it. But kind of what they're doing with this casino and how he's been paying off Lester for 25 years, that feels like the Mafia, right?
Yes.
So one thing I'm thinking is, and also in the laundromat, one little clever thing, they own the laundromat that's above the casino.
Which is a great way to launder money.
It says, "We launder" on the top in the laundromat. It was my favorite joke of the whole episode or shows, but we launder. So clearly that's a front to launder. So are they? I do still kind of lean towards that they are Mafia, whether it be the billionaires or whatnot. I still am leaning that way.
But that also could be like her. So one of the things that they do every season is just about everybody prominent is going to be pointed at as like, this is the person. And there's going to be something that will make them look like they are guilty. And one of the tricks that they can do is like the person can be guilty of something, but that doesn't mean that they're guilty of this.
Right.
Like I feel like that's what happened to the Demases. Is like, yes, the Demases were doing crime, but they weren't doing murder. And that made them look guilty. And so I do think that if they are not, if one of them is not the murderer, then they're going to be made to look like the murderer. And possibly like secrets that they're hiding are going to be what makes them look guilty. So I do think that we're probably going to see her look not great. And if we don't really see that, then it's probably her.
Nona? The Nona?
Well, like, I was actually like Sophia or somebody.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. The other, this is kind of more wider theory, and this could also be a red herring, potentially. Who was filming the documentary of the doorman? Because that person, okay, so I feel like we're going to get more into the doorman aspect of what's going on, and I could see some doorman alliance wanting to get at the Mafia in their way because they're really controlling things. They're big union. There is maybe a secret organization of doormen. Kind of makes me feel like that director might have part of it. Like, because that, it'd be one thing if you're just talking to Lester and Lester recounts his, experience at the Arconia. But we talked to a couple of doormen, and we also, in Mayor Tillman, was talking about the doormen being a huge voting base. Partially, I could also see Mayor Tillman being a suspect.
I was just starting to simmer on that. So, generally, the people that end up running the government generally have some kind of power before they get there. And so they're often already rubbing shoulders with the elite. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mayor Tillman has been in the Velvet Room before. And that maybe when he like wanted to move away from that and get like disconnected from his like seedy past, he worried about somebody that might know too much like Lester. And that could also then like, he could then use that death, for like sympathy purposes to be able to like shoehorn himself in as like the pro this candidate. So I could see something like that.
I don't know if I subscribe to Lester being the target. I think he was more of an unfortunate accident. I think Cacciamilio is more of the one that we're looking at, like his murder is what we are trying to solve. And I could see who could pay off the cops. So what if Mayor Tillman was part of this room, the Velvet Room, and working with Cacciamilio?
Cacciamilio.
I got it. Cacciamilio.
Just call him Cacio e Pepe.
Cacio e Pepe. No, Oliver, no. So I could see
Nikki Cacio e Pepe. That's
Nikki
right?
Cacio e Pepe.
He's Nikki.
He is Nikki.
Sophia Nikki Cacio e Pepe. You can do that.
Okay, Nikki Cacio e Pepe. So I think I'll just call him Nikki. Hey, Nikki. So I think that he, since Mayor Tillman could potentially be in control of the cops, that's pretty much the mayor's job, is being in control of NYPD. So Nikki could have threatened Tillman, be like, I know you're part of the, Velvet Room. I could expose your secrets. Tillman ends up killing him, paying off the cops, make it look like a whole thing. I could see it being Tillman in that regard, because, he doesn't want his secrets to get out. He doesn't want to know that he's connected to the Mafia, these big upper, people. So I could see it being him. And we did get a brief version of him or his aide. But I don't think it's the aide, because we already saw that in season 2, I think. With but it wasn't the aide. She was just it was the intern. It was what's her name? The girl that it was the
actual podcast person. It wasn't the.
No, she was fine. Remember, it was her.
Okay.
Because she was the girl that was like the story that she based it off of, and that she was the one that did it. I don't know. Season 2 was like 10 years ago. I can't. My memory is not what it used to be. The dementia is setting in.
Right.
And she had such they acknowledged her, but she didn't say anything. So she's another one on my radar, because she's so side character. Like Tillman could be the red herring, and then she's the actual person.
Yeah. But I mean, we definitely in the first episode, we hadn't seen much of Marshall. We did see him, and I think he had a line, maybe 2. So it could even be somebody like that, but I don't think it is. I would feel pretty comfortable saying it's not that person.
What do you think? Let us know in the comments who you think it is.
Last but not least, I meant to mention this earlier, when we were talking kind of big picture. Something I noticed last season is that the intro song, there's always something slightly different about it, which is related to what's going on that episode. It's not a huge clue. It's not something where it's if you figure it out, you'll crack the case. But it is an interesting nod to what's going on. So the first episode, there was Mabel's big cup that she put the finger in. The second episode, it was Lester was on top of the Arconia.
Was it Lester?
I assume it was Lester.
It was a shadowy figure.
I mean, it was a silhouette, so you really couldn't tell. And then the third episode I thought was a little weird, because I felt like it was more appropriate for the first episode. It was the lipstick on the glasses, but it was on the moon.
Yeah, I saw that. But also in the second intro, we saw Howard pushing his mother in the wheelchair. Yes.
I loved the mother, by the way.
She's great.
I thought that was such a great, plot point. I think a lot of people don't understand how tough it can be to come out. I'm not gay, but as an atheist, it was tough for me to come out, and it didn't go perfect with everybody that I shared it with, which is one of the things you always don't know, which is another reason why it's tough to share that. And it was sad that he so clearly is gay and is hiding that from his mother. And I thought it was so beautiful how accepting she was, and over the top accepting.
Yeah, his mother loves
the
him.
Shirt, the flags,
yeah, he's the G.
She was so proud. She's telling everybody else.
Yeah,
which is not how it's you. don't out other people after they like come out to you. But still, like I loved how proud she was. Like that was really cool.
I loved it, and I love Howard. He's great.
And that made it like so much more impactful when I assume she died, and like the stretcher that was going out once again with, you know, Lester like comforting the people of the Arconia, like always being there for them. He was there for Howard when that happened. And it's so like it makes him such a pivotal character, even when he like so often can just kind of like blend in and not be unnoticed or like not be noticed. Like I think now that he's gone, it'll be a huge hole that can't be filled.
I feel like after the season, it's going to feel like Saz's death, where it just feels like,
yes,
you know, I feel like the first season, nobody really cared about Tim. He's kind of a,
right.
You know,
we didn't really know anybody at that point.
Yeah.
Including him.
And Bunny dies at the end of the first season. So it was very hard to endear us to her. And I do feel like we got a little bit more endearment to her in the second season.
Yeah.
But also Bunny's kind of crotchety, right? I
was going to say, so they like, with her, they actually like gave her a little bit of a redemption where it's like, we saw a different side to her and realized that she was a person, you know, outside of just being a crotchety person.
Yeah, and then we got the stuff with Saz, and we really fell for Saz, like the things that she would do for Charles and her dreams of wanting to open a trampoline park for stunt children. And now we're going to get this Lester arc. And Lester has always been a nice, kind doorman. He's been great. And so now we're going to get the more in depth of like what made him so great. And with that flashback, we saw that he's there. Like the fact that Oliver has been nothing but like mean to him, and like how kind he was when his wife walked out on him and took all the vases, and how he just silver lining kind of guy was just like, you just gotta take care of these and you'll be all right. And like so kind to him. And then Oliver couldn't even give a picture.
I felt like he actually had a good excuse about that. The fact that he unsubscribed to the emails, so he didn't get the emails. I think the bigger problem was that like he is so self-centered that he never took a picture. So like even after he found out about the assignment and he's like going through his stuff, everybody else has a picture with Lester because he's great. Like who doesn't love Lester? And the only thing that he could find after he realized that is something where Lester is barely in the background.
Yeah. I definitely agree that it was part of his narcissism of why he just didn't have a picture with Lester.
Lester's an NPC to him.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like everybody's an NPC to him. Like in the, like, I think in the very first episode, he says to Charles, well, he says to Charles, like, he's like, Charles, I don't really know what you do. They've been hanging out for 5 years now, or however long you want to say it's been going on. But like, they're friends. Like, he should know what Charles does. Like, Charles knows probably about Oliver, and the fact that he's just like, I don't even know what you do. Like, to him, Charles is an NPC.
Yes, but also I love their friendship because I feel like, you know, sometimes you can have unreal portrayals of friendship where like everything is perfect and you never have like fights or anything like that. But I love how you can go from go fuck yourself to, oh, you've tried that? Like how, you know, like
right.
I thought that was a portrayal of a great friendship of like, yes, you do definitely get mad at those people because people mess up and they make you mad, but then he's like so quickly able to like come back.
I think the chemistry of Steve Martin and Martin Short, like I think they've been friends for forever. So I think that they just have natural chemistry together, and they're both really funny, talented actors and comedians. So
yeah.
And with that, I think our journey has come to an end. Thank you folks so much for joining along with us. Come back next week as we will be finishing Foundation Season 3 finale. And then after that, we will have Only Murders in the Building Season 5, Episode 4 coming right to you. But until then, I'm Mark. This is Sterling.
Thanks.